You're doing the wrong things. You're doing all the wrong things. Like, stop it. You're doing the wrong things. We want a better IO.
Hey guys, it's me, the MoonLightF, and today I'm dropping a rant video for you guys. This is going to be a little bit different, or actually a lot different than what I'm used to dropping. I actually had some people collaborate on me with this, just talked about some games like Saurian and the IO. If you guys like this type of video, let me know in the comments below if you want to see more collaborations with different people talking about stuff. In my about side on my channel, you can see there's an email, so you guys can actually reach out to me and like send me video ideas. Like I said, if you want to collab, we can do that too. But as fair warning, one of the files did get corrupted, so there's some parts that are missing context, so I'm going to be jumping in to explain why we're talking about what we're talking about. And yeah, thanks again for liking and commenting, and shout out to Gek0 for collaborating with me on this. Really chill guy. And yeah, with that, let's get straight into this rant.
We know the owl won't be better. We know they made up their mind.
Oh god, the animations.
I mean, that's the thing, now that the, what's it called? Now that the IO has Inverma coming out, I do wonder how that's gonna play, because ultimately
Rema's been out for 2 years.
I know, but I don't know, because to me, so far it's been kind of disappointing, but at the same time, I do wonder.
It had a good start.
No, it did have it had hype behind it, it had a lot of support behind it, but I think it's, I really do wonder how that's going to play out. I wonder if they're going to keep on track with it, or is it going to die out like the hypo idea kind of died out after a while. You guys remember hypos? And how that was all hyped up?
Hypotherium Rex.
Yeah, all that stuff. I wonder if this is going to be like the hypo situation where it's hyped up, it's talked about, and then it's just dropped. It's never, it's just kind of never brought up.
And then guess what happens? Just guess what happens when they drop it.
That's it. It's just never brought up again. It's kind of just tossed to the wayside.
People start hacking the game to play as hypos. That's what starts happening, because they're so bored with the source content.
Exactly.
That was a huge issue.
You said
I'm
what?
gonna go on Path of Titans. I'm gonna play Path of Titans. I don't know why.
Okay.
Let's all just go play Path of Titans in a couple of minutes.
Like, that's the thing, is that it's like you have Saurian, the IO, Path of Titans, and they're kind of like all on this spectrum of like extreme, right? And it's like the IO's in the middle, where it kind of, not really realistic, but it's not completely wacky and all over the place like Beast of Bermuda. But at the same time, it's more, it's more grounded, but not too realistic. It's like dead in the middle. Then everybody else is kind of like either to one extreme or the other. Saurian is far too realistic, and that's why it's boring and dull. I made a whole video about that where I went to debt.
And the development for it is absolute hell.
Yeah, that's another problem as well. They actually got robbed too. Believe it or not.
Did they really?
Yeah, so that was a big thing about Saurian. They went on a kind of like a hiatus. Nobody has heard from them for a long time, and then all of a sudden they came out saying that their head manager had basically all this time he was running the money, and they were getting underpaid. They didn't think none of it until one day somebody decided, just randomly, they had the aha moment to check him on the money management, and yeah, he had robbed them for, I think, 70,000 or like 100,000. I forget now. He had robbed them for. Yeah, he had robbed them for a big amount of money over the years, and he just never let them know. And when it finally came out, he got away scot-free. There was nothing they could have done, and he still, he hasn't got charged with anything. He just got the money, and that was it. He left the team, and they were all kind of like, as you can imagine, they were just screwed. They didn't have nothing they can do, and they kind of let out a statement. I forget if it's still up, but if you look it up on Google, they let out a statement explaining what had happened and why they were gone for so long. And that's why I actually posted a recent video saying that to give Saurian a chance and stuff like that, because they're trying their best to recover after the fact. So it's kind of like really crazy. Yeah,
I've never heard of that story before.
Yeah, it's funny because when I had made my video, I had heard about it a little bit, and I was saying, I didn't know the full extent, but I heard about a situation that happened with them, and when I made my first video, and I had stuck with my opinion, and then eventually I had to admit that, hey guys, I was wrong, I thought they were pulling Day of Dragons on us, and that they were scamming. It turns out that they were actually the ones getting robbed. The team is, they're decent people. They're just trying to make the game as best as they can, and it's sad,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So when it comes to balancing, that's where you guys have actually more expertise than me. The other problem is where I'm at, but I mean, when it comes to balancing, what would you say is the main issues between the dinos? Like, is it just certain carnivores? Or?
You cannot claim you're going for realism if you're not doing realism. So any dinosaur game in history, if you're claiming you're going with realism, you're lying. Because then ceratopsians, ankylosaurs, and Tyrannosaurus rex, sauropods would be unkillable. Ceratopsians would be absolute freaks of nature. Ankylosaurs would be pretty much unkillable. Pretty much unkillable.
Sauropods was outsourced.
Pterodontosaurus.
Specialized in killing them.
Exactly, which is a very small niche. A very, very small niche. Ceratopsians would literally only get killed by something like Rex. Ankylosaurs would pretty much be next to unkillable. Tyrannosaurus Rex would be absolutely freaking busted. Spinosaurus would be incredibly underpowered. Herrerasaurus would be... basically balancing... Okay, now we actually need to give the solution, because I told you, do not go for realism, go for fun. And then incorporate real aspects into that without busting the creatures. Because again, Spino would be useless, Rex would be broken, Sauropods would be broken, Carcharodontosaurs would be broken because of the bleed, like Dromaeosaurs would be next to useless. Like, it just honestly would be such a niche gap of fun if you did full realism. So, of course, we're gonna go into that and say, go for realism with the models. Make the models accurate and do fairly accurate things with confrontations with other dinos to where the Spino's not gonna be a ceratopsian, right?
No, see,
most likely
that I 100% agree on with the whole... focus on fun first, realism last. So have the models look realistic, the environments look realistic, all the background stuff look realistic and true to the environment they would have been in. But don't make all of the physical interactions that they have with each other realistic, because that's when you get into a boring situation.
Exactly. And then do not make it only just a fun combat and have no realism, because then it makes no reference to actual real life, and then people think that, oh, this creature's better than this creature in real life. Come to find out, this creature's actually a lot weaker than this creature in real life.
And you end up with kamikaze, basically.
Yes.
The way I see it, honestly, it's you have let's say like the Isle on one side of the spectrum. Actually, I would say the Isle's in the middle. Then you would have Saurian on one side of the spectrum and half a Titan somewhere.
So it's possible. It's just going to be like the hardest challenge. Unless you somehow convince Ubisoft to tell you how they did that, there's no way you're going to do it.
No, of course, it's funny because AI in games can definitely be done well. Stuff like Metal Gear Solid, what's it called? What's another one that's like Halo? Yeah. It's true though, those are the first two games that come to my mind where AI is done right, Metal Gear Solid.
Exactly.
5 could be the answer. It could fix it, but we don't know.
You're like really quiet, what?
Unreal Engine 5 could fix the issue.
It could help fix that. I mean, well, I guess technically it really hasn't, considering the embarrassing AI of the small little prey items in Path of Titans. Those things are horrible. But basically, balancing. So basically, if you're going for realism, you're stupid. You should never go for realism, or you'd have a completely broken chain system, which would just be completely either biased, or if you're going for realism, it would be just completely unbalanced and just all over the place, right? You cannot say you're going for realism when you're trying to make a PvP game. It's not possible.
Well, I mean, you can try to be kind of realistic, but yeah, I agree. You can't be fully hardcore realism, because then you go into that boring, slow drag feeling. It's not a game anymore. And the whole hit of a game is that you're trying to offer people something that's going to be fun and thrilling at the very least. And if you can't offer on that, your game is going to fail. It's just not long-term successful.
Because basically, you're just making a freaking boring simulator game on the App Store.
Yeah, basically, it's like a price tag on a history lesson. It's a very niche thing that people are actually going to like.
Prehistoric Planet was amazing, but that's not a game now, is it?
No. See,
Exactly.
you can. Here's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. You can do that with same thing like with Walking with Dinosaurs. You guys, I don't know if you guys remember that, but
I remember Walking Dinosaurs. It's outdated by today, but like
yeah, it's outdated. But when that show was on the air, it was at least for me, it was game changing. It was so remarkable. Like it was such a cool thing, and like you're saying, it's outdated by today's standards for sure. But at the time, it was definitely the best thing you had. You know, in terms of this, you know, dino knowledge, but at least for the general viewer. But the one thing that I will say is that even though it was all, you know, it should be boring, right? Like if you write it down on paper, it should, but it did it in such a way that it was able to get across to people who actually like that niche. But in a video game, it's a little bit different, though. It's a lot harder to pull off that trick.
It's way harder to pull off because you can't go for realism and call it an entertaining game. Then you're just lying to people.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Like, you try to incorporate real aspects, but if you do that, if you incorporate all real aspects into there, you will make such a boring, repetitive game compared to something with slight realism but good PvP. I'd prefer slight realism with good PvP.
No,
but obviously, people give me my freaking feathered raptors and non-pronated arms, and I'll be happy with you. Okay?
Yeah.
No, of course. And see, that's the thing is that, I mean, you're not an outlier on that. That's most people. You know, they would much rather a game that's fun and exciting but less realistic than what is true from reality. But at least they can actually enjoy what they're playing, you know?
Exactly. Which again, complete fail.
Half of Times is not trying to be realistic. It's just trying to be different from the Isle.
No,
see, that's the thing. Is that it's funny because they actually at first were trying to outcompete the Isle, and people were talking it up, saying how it's going to be the next thing to take over and dominate the market in terms of dino survival. But right away we found out that this was completely not the case. And it became so evident after a while that you just couldn't deny it anymore. Like, remember with the whole fish update where they added fish and the Isle was supposed to have added fish years ago and stuff like that?
Yeah, that was good. That was really good.
No, the Path of Titans was on its game. That's what I mean. Like, it was, at first, it was on its game trying to outcompete the Isle. And it was red hot with the updates. Everything seemed like it was going so well for them. And then, all of a sudden, it just crashed and burned. And now this is where we are now.
And by the way, to the viewers out there, we're not being toxic in any way. We're telling the developers, please do this, because then not only would you drive more revenue to yourselves, but you'd also give us, the players, we want this to be better than the Isle, because let's be honest here, none of us like the developers of the Isle. None of us. Did I hit the Dilo? I did hit the Dilo. Oh, it's dead. It got hit by a freaking camera. But yes, so end off, basically, let's just end this off here. We've been on a rant for nearly 2 hours. So basically, just freaking balance the game, remove questing or rework it entirely to have some kind of passive growth in there. Maybe making the creatures like be AFK too long will stop their growth, or maybe like quests or another side thing to actually boost their growth significantly so they can grow up a little bit faster than the Isle, which is another like 8 hours of literally just doing nothing. Walking simulator.
Whole bunch.
And then like, basically, just do a better system than the Isle. That's the better thing. Like, literally, give it a traction, because the Isle's growth system is basically just, I'll leave my PC here. I hope I don't die. You come back, you're dead. I'll try again. And then you just do it. Now I'm an adult Rex, and I can just go kill everything. You know, don't do something like that. But then at the same time, add something to where you do have a connection to that creature rather than just like a connection, but it's not so significant to where you die. You're literally just, like when I lost my Rex, I was like, no, oh, that sucks. But then I didn't really think much more about it. Like, it just sucks, but like, I never really went on to just like get annoyed.
You know?
Exactly. Like, fair enough. I didn't know that was gonna happen. It happened to me. Okay, game done. But in Path of Titans, it's like I just got bodied by all that, and now the entire server's dominated by them. I can't do anything. This sucks.
You can't fight
now
them.
I have to go spend even more time regrowing, and then if I get killed again, then I lose even more progress, which is hours of work. 50 fix that. The map needs to be like cut in half or something. It needs to be way smaller. When they increase the map to that size, that's when I stopped playing the game like a lot. Like I just completely stopped for a while, and now I'm playing it a teensy itsy little bit. And then don't like balance the combat completely. Optimize the servers in the game and listen to the correct side of the community, like criticism and all that, instead of just listening to the community. It's just like, and you need to fix this, but you don't do it because all you listen to that you're not a terrible person or something like that. Like obviously you need some criticism, and if you don't have criticism, because sometimes they're actually telling the truth, sometimes it's just harassment or bullying or something. This game has a lot of holes currently until they do something about it. I just recommend go play just go play Legacy, okay? Go enjoy some Legacy. Go enjoy it with some friends. Like just go play Legacy with a couple friends, or go play Evrima. Like even Evrima is better than Path of Titans. They're literally, you know what you need to do?
Like and comment to MoonLightF, or at least that's what I think he was gonna say. But seriously guys, that's all I got for you guys today. If you liked it, like it. If you guys want to see more like it, comment down in the comment section below. And as always, I'm MoonLightF, and I'm just looking out for you.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.